Hey guys, I'm Philomena. Welcome to my sound perspective. This is the Playlist Podcast. Alright, welcome to the podcast, guys. This is the very first episode. We're going to be talking about business and all things money related, investing, whatnot. And to help me with that today, I'm joined by one of my lovely brothers, Joseph Guiliano. He is a graduate of Drexel University. His major was business management and entrepreneurship with a minor in philosophy, so very on topic today. He currently works in finance and as an entrepreneur. So welcome, Joseph. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Philomena. I think I have a lot of really good insights and topics to talk about here with you.
Okay, so the first segment that we have on the playlist today is just general business and money and how it plays into society and that kind of stuff. So this is one of the things when I was talking with Joe about some of the topics that I would bring up tonight is kind of the type of business ideas that come up in conversation. I was kind of curious about your thoughts on why people do that so much and where the intent comes from, if anybody actually has any intention to go about making that a reality in the world, and why most people don't really execute them or even try to.
I think us as human beings were really good at identifying things that we don't like and identifying things that we think are just absolutely awful and
the
a problem.
Negative's always the focus.
Right. Whenever something comes up, you go do something, you go to the store, you drive your car, right? Think about when you're in the street, you get stuck at traffic, in the red light, you're waiting forever, right? And you're asking yourself, why didn't somebody make the lane 2 lanes instead of 1 when they planned out the city roads, right? We're great at identifying problems, running into them, and complaining, oh, why was it done this way? Can't we do it this way?
Mm-hmm.
Or
why doesn't something like this exist for this issue?
And you have a quick thought, and you think it might be better this way, or it might be better a different way. So we're great at identifying a lot of these problems, these issues, these things that cause us hardships and concerns, right? But there's a couple of dilemmas there in us actually trying to pursue them. One, we actually have to remember that it's an issue. Right. There's plenty of problems and things you run into. And it's like, oh, this is
a problem in the moment.
It's a problem in the moment. It's a real pain, something you don't want to deal with. But you get to where you're going and what you're doing, and you move on with your life. It's like you're mad and upset and concerned for 5-10 minutes, maybe an hour. If it's really bad, maybe a couple days.
Yeah,
right?
I think the stories that you do hear about businesses that are created from instances like that, it's more often not the person that's with whoever said it. You know, they're like, they brought up the issue and their friend was nearby, and when they tell you like how they got their business started, really, I was with so-and-so and my buddy said this and it was an issue and he was all bothered by it, and I thought, hey, why not do this? Or like they said something about it and years down the line they got something going for it.
Right. And a lot of times that's really all it takes. It's just you sitting down, remembering that there's an issue and a problem that you encountered, and then thinking about it and tackling it, right? And that's the second step. After you identified it, actually sitting down and thinking about it and doing something with it, right? And then you might come up with a solution or a better way to go about it. And then that's where the real magic happens, right? You find this idea, come up with a better way to do something, and you really got to figure out, well, hey, how can I actually get this implemented and done and going? Half the time, even a lot of people who are very successful entrepreneurs and come up with these innovative ideas, their initial goal a lot of times actually isn't to start a business, right? If you have a friend that's really good at cooking or baking, right? And one of the most common stories out there, right? Because everybody has that one friend who makes this awesome food, this awesome dessert, right?
Yeah.
And you'll hear on occasion some of the famous restaurateurs that are out there, or the ones that come up with some of these unique creations out there. Well, I got my start by just cooking a meal for a couple friends.
Yeah.
And couple people said, well, there's nothing really like this out there. You should try selling it to somebody or putting it out there.
Is a restaurateur a chef?
Not necessarily.
They're like more on the business side.
So when you say you're a restaurateur, mainly you're a restaurant owner, right? So you run a restaurant, you manage a restaurant, you own a restaurant. You're coming up with the design, the concept, and everything that encompasses the restaurant. So that can include, and often does, the food. A lot of restaurateurs are chefs, right? But many of them are chefs in addition to
businessmen.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because back to like why people kind of have these spur of the moment ideas, and most, I would say, don't really do anything with them.
Yeah, so I have two thoughts there. The first thought I have is around your comment around why people don't even pursue some of those ideas. And one of the biggest things is, even if they think they have a good idea or come up with a solution, right, then you run into the problem of, well, how big of a problem is it to tackle? And do you feel that you have the resources, the knowledge, the capability to then go do something and change things? And a lot of times,
it discourages people.
It discourages people because you might not have the resources. You might not believe in your idea fully yet, right? Oftentimes in the beginning, like, you didn't go test it yet, right? Which is very important. That's why a lot of people fail in business sometimes too. They'll have an idea, think it's great, but they skip that step of figuring out, well, is it actually a good idea? Right? Like, it might seem like a good idea in the moment, but does it actually make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Will everyone else be accepting of the idea? Is it beneficial to everyone else, not just you, the individual? Right? So a lot of entrepreneurs won't do the research, or they'll skip that step. And you oftentimes find yourself with identifying a good problem, having a part of the solution, but not executing it in the right way, or missing out on the other half of the solution. Which you would have found out if you did a little research in the beginning. Right.
I think we're getting into some of the questions that I want to go into further depth on in the next segment, so I think we're going to hop over there.